Do you know what's sexy as fuck? When you make dinner for a woman and you actually have a wine pairing with it. And it complements it perfectly. So, how do you wine pair properly? It's a real question. We kind of touched on this when I talked about ordering wine at a restaurant confidently. But now I'm talking about you're taking the relationship to the next step. You're inviting her over to your place. Alright? And if you want something other than her to get back in her car and fuck off, you better listen up. Zoom in. Listen to Uncle Anthony. Okay? When it comes to wine pairing, there are two concepts that you have to keep in your mind. Complementary or, okay, conflict. Okay? Contrast. For example, okay, it's a hot day, you have a cold ice cream. That's contrast. Something cold on a hot day. Understandably, yeah? Fair enough. Whereas complementary, it would mean something that, like, I don't know, like you're in Thailand and then they serve you a beautiful laksa in the middle of hot weather. And you're probably thinking, holy shit, how the hell is this going to go? And you taste it and you're like, you know what, this belongs in this temperature. Okay, soup isn't made for cold weather all the time. Sometimes soup is necessary for hot weather. Okay, understanding that concept and moving forward with it, let's look at wine. Okay, let's try to simplify the process for you. If you got a plain meat, salt, and garlic dish, be that a steak dish or a plain roast, okay, you want to have something that's going to complement that, something that has high tannins, and something that's going to stand up to that beautiful, savory taste. Keep in mind, tannin cleans the tongue, dries it out. So go for Cabernet Sauvignon, go for Sangiovese, Nebbiolo, okay? Go for your big Tuscans, super Tuscans, Chianti, okay? And those are big boys. Rioja can stand up to roasted meat. But you notice I haven't said Shiraz, okay? Alright, warm climate Shiraz, your Barossa Valleys, they can stand up to it. But your cold climate Shiraz is sexy. Keep it sexy. If I'm going to be doing like a beautiful lamb, alright, which has a gamey taste in and of itself, alright, it's not like beef where it's nice and mild with some chimichurri or like a beautiful, ossobuco with a deep, 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 rich tomato-based sauce. Okay, I'm looking for a highly acidic red wine. And so cold climate red wine, such as cold climate Shiraz, absolutely dominates for that. You know what I mean? If you're looking for a nice quality drink that isn't up there with like a big quality red, go for yourself like a nice Burgundy. That's some sexy stuff. A Burgundy Villages. I wouldn't go for a Grand Cru with that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Grand Cru wouldn't go with it. It's just that you can't afford Grand Cru. Unless you're like very well off. In which case, go for it. Not all of us can wipe our ass with gold plate. You know what I'm saying? So, that's contrast. Fish. Okay? Is it set in stone that you can't have red wine with fish? You're paying your money. You know what you like. Alright, if you want to have a light rosé with fish, it's perfectly fine. A rosé made out of Pinot Noir in particular is quite phenomenal with fish. Do you think? Personally, it depends what kind of fish I'm having. If I'm having fish in a beautiful Béarnaise sauce, alright, or beurre blanc, I love Chardonnay for that. Because it's complementary. Chardonnay has a beautiful, rich butteriness and oiliness on the palate that complements butter-based or cheese-based dishes. You feel me? Whereas, if I was going to have a beautiful like fish in red wine sauce, with onions and heaps of garlic, I'd go with Rioja, play with it a little bit. Even cold climate Shiraz can stand up to that. Okay, and then here's the one wine that I just absolutely adore from beginning of the meal damn near through to the end of it, and that's champagne. Champagne, cava, all right, prosecco. It covers about 80% of the market as far as like meals are concerned. You can start with your prosecco at the beginning and go all the way through to the main, all right, entree, all that kind of crap. Because, in particular, I love champagne because Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, a red wine and a white wine, have melded together to craft something of superb balance to clean the palate. So anything that has a high fat content or fat or like oiliness on the palate, like fondue for me, fondue and champagne, forget about it. And then top it off, the best combination of all time. All right, dirty KFC. Dirty KFC that's so oily that when you put your fingers on a A4 piece of paper, you can see your fingers on the other end of it. And champagne, unmatchable. If you haven't had a fried chicken and champagne, go do it today. Pause this video, order it, get yourself a bottle of Bubs, and pop it. And thank me later. Last point I'm going to make is this. When it comes to serving a sweet wine with a dessert, always make sure your sweet wine is more sweet than the dessert that you're going to be serving. I'll emphasize that. If it's not sweeter than what you're serving, don't serve it. Simple. Go with like a nice Brown Brothers Moscato blend with a beautiful bit of orange zest in it and a chocolate lava cake. You're pulling numbers and pulling down pants that night. That's all I'm saying. Alright, take it with a grain of salt. Understand that food pairing is 100% critical. Half of the enjoyment of wine is the enjoyment of food, and all that enjoyment means nothing without the company that's with you. If you have any questions about food pairing, comments below. If not, like, share, subscribe, and sorry for the delay on my videos. Got a bit busy lately. Stay safe, folks.